Hi everyone, today we're going to make one of my favorite dishes, coconut chicken curry. I love curry, so does Dr. Andrew. It actually was served at our wedding, so it's definitely one of our favorites. So today we're making a chicken curry, and it's super easy. I'll put the recipe in here. First, I am making it in my Instapot, just because I want to keep it warm for later for dinner. But the recipe does call it just to make it over the stove. So it's super easy. You don't have to have an Instapot. It just helps when you want to keep the food warm. Okay, so I went ahead and I put this on the saute mode. So it's going to heat up here. While that's heating up, I'll just talk about a little bit about what's going into the curry. I have a nice free-range organic chicken that I'm putting in. The recipe does call for 2 pounds of chicken. I'm only doing 1 pound because it's just Andrew and I eating it. We have some broccoli, mushrooms, garlic that I already chopped up, onion. I have ginger, which I want to talk about a little bit later. 1 can of coconut milk, curry powder. I found this at Sprouts. You can find curry powder kind of anywhere. And then a little salt to taste. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna put the chicken in and get that sauteing. Okay, so the chicken's sauteing a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and start chopping up my veggies. So I have some broccoli here. The recipe does call for 2 cups, and I am gonna do 2 cups. So with broccoli, I like to use all of it. I don't like to waste any food. So I use the stems, all of it. I don't just use the treetops. But yeah, I like to use the whole broccoli and just chop it up. Okay, so my chicken's looking good. Got a nice brown crispness to it on the outside. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my coconut milk in. This coconut milk with a little cream on the top. Okay, coconut cream is on. I'm gonna go ahead and put I chopped my broccoli and my mushrooms up. Okay, so while that starts to cook down a bit, I'm gonna go ahead and start chopping up my onion and my garlic. So I already did the garlic, the ginger. I'm only going to use half an onion because I'm kind of cutting the recipe in half. I still did the same amount of broccoli and mushrooms, but cutting down a few things. And that's what I love about cooking. You can play with the recipe, make it your own, just follow the guidelines type of deal. I'm just chopping this onion up a little. I'll try not to cry. Depends on the onion, but sometimes my eyes just start watering and watering, and it can be ridiculous. I know it probably happens to some of you as well. And then here's my piece of ginger. For ginger, I already skinned it, like took the skin off of it. A couple fun facts about ginger. So ginger root has a lot of good health benefits. I'm sure your mom, when you were growing up, gave you ginger root or ginger ale maybe, but we want to stay away from ginger ale nowadays because of all the sugar. But so we know that ginger kind of helps settle our stomach, but some of the other things that ginger does is it can actually reduce muscle pain. It's an anti-inflammatory, treat indigestion issues, and it can actually improve brain function. So this little root here is super powerful. We're going to go ahead and just mince it up. I'm actually putting a little extra in there than the recipe calls. It calls for 1 teaspoon, and I'm putting this whole little chunk in there. So it's probably closer to a tablespoon here. You can actually make ginger tea with ginger root as well. Just chop it up really tiny and let it soak in water on the stove. Boil it in water, then strain the water, and you have some really great ginger tea. And it can help with nausea or any of those things that I just listed. Okay, so everything looks like it's cooking pretty well in there. I did add another half a can of coconut milk. It just didn't seem like enough for me. And you can always add tapioca starch to thicken it up a little bit, tapioca or arrowroot. I know I mentioned this in the last video, but if then it seems like too much, you can certainly add that in to thicken it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the garlic in, the ginger, and the onions. Okay, I'm gonna give that a stir. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add my curry powder. It calls for 1 tablespoon. And you can always add more or less. I feel like it's gonna need more. Just didn't seem like quite enough for me. I want it to have that nice curry flavor. So I'm gonna add a little bit more, up to you, you can taste test it. And then just a little bit of salt to taste. I'm just gonna give it a couple cranks in there. Okay, give it a stir. And then you just, the recipe says to let it simmer for about 15 minutes. So you let it all cook together, and then you have curry. With the curry, I am not putting it over rice or anything, but if you would like, you can certainly put it over cauliflower rice. It's really good. So I actually got this cauli rice from Sprouts, and it's organic cauliflower rice. The only ingredients is cauliflower and a little sea salt. So you're pretty safe here. Just make sure if you are buying cauliflower rice, you're reading those labels. It's one of those things they put stuff in. So yeah, you would just heat this up in a pan, and then you can serve your curry over top of it. Yeah, tonight I'm not doing that, but you're certainly welcome. All right, next. Okay. Another thing you can do if you like your curry spicy, you can add a little cayenne pepper and some red pepper flakes. I know I do that. It just adds a little kick to it if you like spicy. Hi, so I'm actually going to be doing a chia seed pudding which I'm super excited about because I'm gonna try it chocolate today versus just the regular milk and chia seeds. So this is a super easy recipe. Best to do it the night before, let it sit all night, and then eat it in the morning or eat it as a after dinner dessert if you choose. So super easy ingredients. If you want to just do a regular chia seed pudding, all you need is half a cup of I use nut milk, and then 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, and then a little bit of sweetener, 1 to 2 teaspoons. You can use honey, maple syrup. I'm keeping it keto, so I'm using the monk fruit. I suggest doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and put the milk in, which I just have to say, I'm a nerd when it comes to the grocery store. I go in and I read every single label that I get, and yes, I take a little bit of time. I'm getting quicker now because I'm knowing the brands and I'm knowing what I'm going in there for, but this nut milk, I was so excited. I was freaking out in the aisle because the only ingredients in here are filtered water and hazelnuts. That's it. Usually with nut milks, they at least add some type of stabilizer, something in there, Orgum. So to find out, make sure you're getting the unsweetened one, because there is a sweetened one and that one does have cane sugar in it. But anyway, I was a super nerd when I found this. They also have it in walnuts and cashews. Again, make sure you're getting the unsweetened. But yes, super nerd about that. So I'm doing my hazelnut milk, and then I'm going to do my chia seeds, which I'm doing 2 tablespoons. Okay, and then 1 to 2 teaspoons of some type of sweetener. Now the recipe that I'm sending to this link does have a list of options you can do. Make sure you're sticking to your plan, whether you're doing advanced plan or core plan. Okay, sweetener in there, and then so if you're just doing a plain, if you want to just do vanilla, you can just add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm actually going to still, even though I'm doing chocolate, I'm still going to put vanilla in here too because I love vanilla. All right, so then I'm gonna do the chocolate, which is 1 tablespoon of cacao powder. And I think I've mentioned when I was making brownies before, cacao is a great source. I think I've mentioned before about cacao powder. It's has great health benefits to it as long as you're getting the right kind. It has a lot of good antioxidants, considered a superfood. So we have all of our ingredients in here. We're just gonna whisk it up. Now the recipe says to put it in a blender. I'm actually just gonna stir it up and put it in the fridge. That's how I've done them before, and they turn out great. So I don't think a blender is necessary. Just make sure that you're really whisking it up. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put it in the fridge. I'm gonna put a lid on it. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put it in the fridge and let it soak. So let it soak at least for 5 hours. And like I said, best for overnight. I actually have done just 3 hours before, and it still turns out pretty good. It does absorb pretty quickly, but best overnight if you have that option.